Hey everybody, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. It's been a long time, well over a month since I made my last video, so I had a few extra minutes this afternoon, so I wanted to share some things I'm looking at in the market next week. So we'll get started high level here. Here's the SPY, S&P 500 Index ETF, and this chart is really about as pretty as it gets. This 290, 295 level here, back resistance in September, again in April, broke through that nicely last week. So as long as these levels hold, it's looking very bullish here in the S&P 500. Really nice looking chart. Obviously things can change, and if they change and those levels don't hold, I'll change my mind. No big deal. But for right now, things are looking pretty good. So I'm looking at a lot of long setups coming into next week. I'll show the daily look here. Kind of zoom in and see that level here in the SPY. You can see right there. That's 293 or so, 293.50 with the highs back there, and then here again in April, couldn't crack that 295 level, and more recently we've got above that, and we've held, and it looks pretty good. Small caps, IWM, have kind of been the laggards all year. Looking a little better last week. We took out the highs. We closed above the highs from the previous weeks, around 156. We're above that 200-day. It's still sloping down. Bigger picture here. Look, we're kind of working on this big wedge. We're getting a little bit tighter in this range here. You can see this is the highs from August, the lows from the beginning of the year, and we're kind of just working, bouncing back and forth off these levels. So watching to see if we get some resolution out of this pattern here as this volatility contracts to get some future indication of future direction. So that's IWM looking better. Gold and silver. Gold has just had such a powerful move here in the last month, and now it looks like it's a little resting. It's held that gap so far, more around 130. This is GLD, the gold ETF. So maybe it wants to fill that gap. Maybe it just kind of consolidates and holds that. But for right now, looks like it's resting. But bigger picture, longer term, I'm liking gold quite a bit right here. Silver. Now, I like the setup in silver right now better, but still a little bit of work to do. You can see this level I highlighted here. We had this gap down back in August of 18. This level between, we'll call it 1410 and 1390, give or take. You can see that we had the gap there, came back in, it was resistance again, gapped above it again here in December, and then we've kind of just been chopping around here. Friday we closed right at this 200-day, which is now rising after a pretty ugly day Friday. But I think this one looks nice for a long setup potentially coming into next week. If it starts moving up off this area, I think the longer-term trend may be changing. Again, if I enter along here, I'd put my stop a little bit below Friday's lows and below that box there in case I'm wrong. No big deal. If you're wrong, that's what I look for these setups, horizontal support and resistance setups. I usually trade breakouts from a horizontal price level or retests of those breakouts if price comes back down to retest, kind of like we have here. And if the levels don't hold, then that's what stops are for, and we get out of the trade and move on. So silver there, WWD. Now these are some stocks I'm looking at. Again, these are all long setups, waiting to confirm. So this one had a really nice opportunity that I watched and didn't take here back in, that was April of this year. Had a really nice tight consolidation. I like that. You could see it hit this 97 level, hit it there, couldn't quite get through, and then it had this big day there, and it's been running ever since. So I've just been watching it, and it looks like it might be ready to go again. It's pressed against this 116 level here and here. Hasn't quite done it. So if it moves above that, we'll say it's 116 or so, I think this looks like a nice long opportunity with a stop, at least where I put my stop is a little bit below Friday's lows. So that's one I'm watching. CHGG, another one I'm watching here. You could see this box I drew here just above $40. Was resistance here in June, early June, again in mid-June, and it's pressing right up against that. So if it can break through that, early next week, this looks like a nice long trade opportunity. Again, I'd put my stop a little bit below Friday's lows, which would have it going back under that box. So CHGG is one I have my eye on. Another one is KMPR. Kind of similar. This one might need a little bit more work, might need to come up another $1 or so, but again, it's in a strong uptrend. Had some resistance around this $91 level, couldn't quite get through. So if it shows it can get through, will be on my radar for a long trade, again with a stop a little bit below Friday's lows. HUYA, level I'm watching here, had a nice move in June, nice up move, hit resistance here around 26, slight dip, back up around 26. So if it can crack 26, I'd be looking to take a long. and see how it acts when it gets back to these highs around 29 or so. If I did take a long, maybe sell some if I'm fortunate enough to get back up there and see how it acts. But right now, looking for a break above 26 again with a stop a little bit below Friday's lows there. DLDD, like this setup a lot. This is a retest of the former breakout area here around 1125. You could see really strong uptrend in this stock. Hit resistance here, 1125. Couldn't quite push through, and then July 1st pushed through and just hasn't taken off from there yet. Kind of consolidating, holding the key level. So if it starts moving up, above this, 1130, 1135 level, I have my stop right there, around $11 or so, and it looks like a nice opportunity to get into a stock with a beautiful, strong uptrend. Next one, GKOS. You'll notice a lot of similarities in these setups here. This one, the level I'm watching is about $78. You can see it acted, as resistance here after that nice run from June to beginning of June till late June, and it's pressing up against that again. So if it can crack, $79 or so, I will look to potentially enter this one long again with a stop not too far below current prices. BLD, another one. Look at this beautiful uptrend here. Kind of hit resistance here on 86, and now it's just kind of consolidating sideways, kind of a bullish flag developing. Whenever it's ready to complete this consolidation, if it's next week, I'm looking for it to go over 83.50 or so. If it can do that, I'll be looking to enter this one on the long side as well. Another nice opportunity to get in a nice uptrending stock there in BLD. ADSK, you can see it had that powerful move. It was back, $120 back in January, and like the market in general had a nice strong move. Now it's just kind of consolidating. So what's the level I'm looking for here? Right around current prices, 173, 174. If it can break above that, I'll look to potentially enter along with a stop not too far below. So that one is on my radar as well. These next two newer issues, kind of a similar look. They got there in a different way. You can see this is LK. IPO here started off, in May, came way down, came back up, kind of finding its footing, consolidating a bit. Volatility is going down, so I'm just kind of watching it. This level I highlighted here is a horizontal level I'm watching, 1960, 1970. We'll see if it can break above that, and if it does, I might initiate a long here in LK. Pinterest, really similar, kind of got there in a different way. You can see this one started low, really soared higher, came back down, and just volatility is kind of just contracting now. So if it decides it wants to break up from this consolidation level here, around 27.75 or so, this looks like a nice long opportunity, again, because we have our defined stop here around, a little under $27. At least that's where I put mine. CSII, healthcare name, been watching this for a while. I like the look, nice strong move again from January. It's trading about $25, moved all the way up to 40. So basically a double. Found resistance here around 42 or so. Almost got back up there in May, couldn't quite push through. And then here in the middle of June, it did break above that. It's respecting this 40, we'll call it $41. It's respecting this level. It's just kind of consolidating right here. This is similar to the CMG chart I'll go over in a bit. But if it starts showing it wants to move up and out of this consolidation, I'll be watching it and ready to initiate a long. So I don't know if that's going to be on Monday, or maybe it needs more time. I do want to see it hold that 41 level, but maybe it needs more time to consolidate. Maybe not, I don't know. But if it starts moving up and out of that consolidation, it might present a nice long entry there in CSII. Core, this one I'll zoom out a bit. You can see, it hit this $40 level back in November, then took a big dive and then ran all the way back up. Couldn't quite push above it. Wasn't ready yet. Kind of traded in a tight range here between 35 and 40. Again, May, couldn't quite break above it. Came back down, 36. Couldn't quite break above it. And then finally last week, it showed it can push through that $40 level. So we have a nice level to trade off of. I'd put my stop, around $39 or so. But this $40 level acted as resistance a number of times, and now we're above it. So it should, I say should, nothing's guaranteed, but that's what stops are for. If it doesn't act as support, then we don't want the stock. So, but it gives us a nice level to trade off of here if this one holds above 40. So that's one I'm keeping my eye on for next week. PRSP, I like this had a huge move, $16 back up to $23 here. Found some resistance around 20. We'll call it 23.50. Came back down, some resistance here again at that same level. Kind of broke through it, but never really followed through. And now we're right back there. So if this one can follow through, get a move up above $23.75, $24, this is one I like on the long side. I'd put my stop, under Friday's low. So those are some names I'm looking at. Now, here's a couple larger cap names that I could play either with just buy the stock, or the options here are pretty liquid as well. So one is Twitter. I'm going to zoom out to the weekly chart here. But it has this level, we'll call it $36. You could see it was resistance there in March of 18. Again, hit it August of 18 resistance. Here, December of 18 resistance. So it's acted as resistance a few times. And then April of 19, it busted through that level. And it's kind of came back, kind of undercut it a little bit. But basically, we're right back there now. So we have this key level to trade off of. So what I'm looking for is to maybe take out last week's highs, 36.60, 36.75. If it can do that, I would look to enter a long trade here in Twitter, again with a stop a little bit under Friday's lows. CMG, we'll look at the raindrop chart here in TrendSpider. I posted this chart a couple times when I was watching it, and I do actually have call options. Well, not options. I have a call option here in CMG that's worked out nice so far, but this is just a really nice looking chart. It has this 720, 725 level, strong uptrend, first of all. Hit this resistance. Again here, you can see hit it resistance, broke above it, and just kind of had a really, really nice orderly consolidation. You can see it respected that 720 level. Sure, maybe undercut it by $1 or so, but it respected this level, really orderly consolidation, and then it looks like it wants to pull away. You can see this. These raindrop charts kind of show where the volume is during the day, and you can see Thursday, a lot of that volume's in the upper part, which maybe shows a little bit more conviction by buyers towards the end of the day. Nothing's guaranteed, but it's a nice tool to kind of help visualize that, and it broke out of this kind of trend here. So I think this one, if depending on what the markets do next week, I know there's that news that I just saw with Deutsche Bank laying off 18,000 employees, complete restructuring. So maybe something like that impacts the market. I don't know, but I do know that the S&P 500 chart is about as pretty as it gets. So that's the struggle with markets. There's always information, telling you one thing or the other, but really that's the beauty of just following price action. You can kind of block it out and pick your spots, and if price is going higher from those spots, you got to be bullish, and if not, you got to maybe change your mind to reevaluate. But this CMG chart looking really good. I like this look here with the raindrop, so we'll see if it can follow through next week. If it does, I think it still makes for a really nice long opportunity, and I would probably add, I don't know if I'd put add more options or just add some common stock there in CMG. Another one I like, MGM. Bunch of insider buying on this lately. You can see this level here, $29, resistance here, here. Finally broke above it. It's consolidating right there. So if it starts taking out, you can see that candle Friday, nice bullish consolidation. And if it could take out that high from Friday and keep running, MGM looks like a really nice long opportunity in my view. Again, why? Because I know where I put my stop. 28.50 or so. I would change my mind, and that's where I'd get out of it, but it looks pretty good for some upside follow-through, so we'll see what happens. So those are some things I'm watching for next week. Again, the big story for me is just this S&P 500 chart. Looks really good. Again, that it can change. If it changes, then I'll change my mind. No big deal. But I really like this look. Didn't quite get it. I like the shallow dip here. That shallow dip is like the right shoulder in an inverse head and shoulders pattern, the cup and handle, which is this kind of resembles. But what it tells you is we hit these lows here, hit the same resistance level, and then it didn't quite take as big as a dip. It didn't come down to those lows. Demand started coming in a little bit earlier, and that's often indicative of an eventual breakout, which we got last week in the S&P 500. So as long as that keeps looking good, I think I'm going to keep looking for long opportunities. And again, you got to be flexible. Don't want to get stuck. If the market starts telling you something different, you don't want to get stuck with your bias. Easier said than done sometimes, but right now my bias is for more upside until that changes. So hopefully you found some of those ideas helpful. I hope you have a good week and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thank you.